Hello, everyone, and welcome to my car. Yes, my car. And no, it's not the cool one, so stop asking. So, y'all, I am getting ready for a tropical storm with a surge wave, which I call a mini tsunami. Like if a tsunami had a little cousin and then the little cousin had a little cousin, that would be a storm wave. Storm surge. There you go.
Mhm.
Anyway, I'm Winona, and welcome to the writers class for real. And I'm sorry I started with welcome to my car. Although I should everyone does in cars now. I should be like authors interviews in cars. So we should
Yeah,
all
you
just sit in our
should.
car and do the interview.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be fun.
yeah, it would.
Except I don't get to travel, and then that's not fun. Never mind. We'll talk about that later. I have a whole new like show in my head. Oh.
Write it
Anyway,
down.
exactly. I certainly shall.
Yeah.
I'm one of the end I thought ladies, and just in case you're like, what does an end I thought lady do? Well, she writes books. And some of the books are, and I thought divorce was bad, and I thought being grown up was easy. If only I were me, a memoir in verse, foreign coffee, widow's web, and widow's debt. And you can get any of those 6 audiobooks where audiobooks are sold. Now, if you want another 8, 12 books to read, well, actually, it would be 11 because my dear guest today noticed that And I Thought I Could Juggle is no longer up for sale. That's true, but the cover is still there, so I should claim it.
Yeah.
So if you want another 11 books to read and one cover to look at, then you should go to antithoughladies.com. Alrighty, but you're not here to hear about me and my lovely cheekbones today. I have got to admit, they are cute.
They
Yes,
are.
they are.
I
Oh my
agree.
God, she's so Midwest and wonderful. My guest is amazing. Okay, so I gotta hurry up. You're here to hear about our wonderful guest. Wonderful guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Emily Mayer. I'm the author of Pretend With Me. It's my latest release, but many of you may recognize me from Everything Girl, which was my first book.
Ooh, can you tell us a bit about Everything Girl?
Sure, I'd love to. So I actually, fun fact about me, am a recovering lawyer. I started out in criminal law, so I was a public defender, and then a prosecutor. So I wrote Everything Girl because my job as a lawyer was crushing my soul. So I literally imagined a whole another life for myself, and I wrote it as a book as like a coping mechanism to kind of get me through the dark lawyer days. So that's how Everything Girl came about. Yeah.
So, criminal law.
Hmm.
Tell me the difference between what is the difference between intent? How do we know that intent has been that the person did it with intent?
So you would rely on facts about the case. So, for example, I always go right to murder. I feel like maybe I should go for theft or
Okay, in
something.
every law class you were in, didn't they start off with, and if someone murdered, you
Yeah.
would have the intent because this would be first, this would be this
Yeah.
would be first, this is second degree, and then this is accidental homicide,
Yeah. So,
and
we
then
do
this
like,
here is self-defense with no
yeah.
intent.
Right. So we do like if you went and bought a gun and told the somebody like, I'm gonna shoot my wife with this gun. Like that's kind of the classic murder with intent. But like, your bar fight, had a couple drinks, someone says something about your mom or your face or something, and you punch them too hard, there's really no intent. So that's kind of
So that's second degree.
yeah, it could be manslaughter, but every state is different. So like
um,
first degree murder is like the
so
main
like
hit and then
this,
down.
can you tell like this was my favorite part to study for? Like
You
I
know,
studied for the bar for out of stupidity just because like you can. So I
yeah, you
started to.
can.
Yeah, and you
I
can
don't know
take it.
anyone who's done it just for fun though.
Oh, there was a sale. It was
Okay.
95% off on like all the books because this bookstore was closing. And
Yeah.
I saw the law books were stupid expensive. And
Mhm.
95% off, you just buy them.
Yeah. Sure. Why not?
And then they were like, you can study for the bar. So I just bought like bar study books. That was it.
You could probably pass it, honestly. I feel like I learned
No,
almost
I didn't take
nothing in
it.
law school that was helpful for the bar.
I did no, you saw like I went with second degree.
Yeah.
My client could have gone for manslaughter.
Hey, listen, it's fine. It's fine. You just got to get a good judge. That's when it's important.
Guilty straight. I just did. I'm sorry. That was like the only part that made sense to me. I was like, criminal law makes sense. This other stuff, I
Until it
didn't.
doesn't. It does until it doesn't. That's when
It
it
made more sense. It made more sense because I took a lot one in corporate law. Did you? You took corporate law?
I did. I did. Yes,
Right.
you take everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Between criminal law and corporate law, which one makes more sense?
Criminal law, for sure. For sure. You just have to like try to fit the like it just seems so clear in books. And then you have your client that was like, oh, I didn't mean to shoot him. I was just eating my Oreos on the toilet and the fish tank was next to me. And that's where I keep my gun. That's when it gets tricky. Yeah, that was that was like pretty close to real facts on a case. Mm-hmm. So that's when it gets
I'm,
tricky.
I'm sitting here, I'm running through the fences now, and I'm like,
Which one? Well,
I
so
need more.
yeah,
Never mind. This is affecting your soul. Let's move on.
but that's why I had to write to keep sane. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh God. Okay, Everything Girl is obviously not about intent and everything. So
No.
that was your first book. And when did that come out?
So that came out all the way back in 2019.
Okay, all the way back in 20,
I mean, I
all
feel
the way
like the
back.
past like 3 years have been like 12 rolled into one. So 2019
Oh,
feels like
I feel like it's one, so it doesn't count. It's like there was 2019 and then there was 2023.
2019. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So like to me, you wrote it just last year.
Sometimes it feels that way.
So it took you 4 years to write the next one. So what was the
Well, so
change? What was the challenge?
I actually had one more book come out between Everything Girl and Pretend with Me. So I had Rocket Science come out July of 2020. So that was my pandemic baby. um, so I just had really bad writer's block for like a year and a half. It was like I had all the ideas, but I couldn't write them down anymore. None
I
of the stories
understand that.
were sticking. Yeah. And I was
Yeah.
like
And it's
a newer writer. It was when I had transitioned to full-time writing. And I think a lot of it was just figuring out a schedule that worked for me almost and a routine. Cause all of a sudden you're not like reporting for 8 hours a day and you're just kind of in the weeds by yourself.
yeah, and we are writers and writers naturally procrastinate.
I think so, especially if you are an indie publisher or an indie writer and there's no deadline, really like firm deadline you have to meet. So I've definitely learned that I am a deadline girly and I need one. So
You accountability, you have to announce it to your fans
yes, yes,
because they will hold you accountable.
they will. And then like my editor, I always say, don't let me pull anything with you. So she helps a ton.
Okay, so what is the process that you found? Actually, let me ask this question first. What did you wish you knew when you decided to self-publish?
Well, this might seem silly considering I wrote a book, but that people will actually read your book. I so when I Everything Girl, I wrote for myself and I published it as like a bucket list kind of item. And I didn't realize that somebody besides my mom was going to read it. So I wish I would have seen kind of the potential it had and that more people would read it because people started asking me things like, oh, when is so and so going to get his story? Or when is this lady, is she going to have a book? And I was like, yeah, probably. So I definitely wish I would have had like more of a cohesive plan and envisioned a future for myself as a writer before I even published my first book.
I think some of the best journeys are the ones where you don't think that you can do it. I
Absolutely.
really think it is because I'm sorry. My mind just went back to, why didn't you ask for manslaughter? You know better. I'm sorry.
Listen, sometimes when you're in the courtroom, it just comes so fast, you know?
Yeah, you know how many papers I have written on the difference between second degree and manslaughter just because I thought I would take the bar one day. Anyway, moving on. I'm back. I'm back to
Just don't ever
the whole.
ask a lawyer if you should take the bar exam because we're all going to be like, no,
Oh, I'm never taking. Oh God, no.
no, don't ever
No.
be a lawyer.
Like they were like, it's really, really hard to take. And I was like, and then they started like really explaining like how you would go about answering it and the method of thinking. And I went, oh no,
No, it's rough.
it's better. It's better to just have knowledge.
I think so. And to remember, like, most importantly, never say anything unless it's, can I have a lawyer? That's it. So if you learned that in your bar study class, then it was well worth the money. That's my public service for everyone watching. That's your
Thank you so much for that public service. And we're back on track. I feel like that people who just take the journey, often they have the most exciting journeys. It's people who set expectations and goals because they're not enjoying the journey. They're going for
I
destination.
definitely think there is truth to that. I mean, the amount of joy I've gotten from this journey because I expected so little from it has been really incredible. I mean, the first time somebody reached out and said, "Oh, I like your book." I mean, it just was the most wonderful moment for me. I printed it out, the email out, I stuck it on my wall, and it was, it was just an amazing moment that I never thought would happen for myself.
So now comes a question that I have to ask everyone, which is, what are 3 pieces of advice would you give any new author out there that's considering being self-published, other than, of course, the reading part?
I would say for sure, just write. Don't worry about how well your draft is going, if everything is perfect. Just write the story. Just write the story how you want to write it. And don't put that kind of pressure on yourself for that perfect first draft. I think that's where a lot of people falter. I think it gets very overwhelming. But once you get rid of the idea of perfection with your first draft, I think anyone can finish a draft. The second thing I would say is find a way to hold yourself accountable, so you don't end up with a 40-year project. Because I have like 85 open Word documents that may never get finished. And then definitely pick one thing to invest in. If you really, really want writing to be a career for you, I think it's really important to invest in some aspect of the process, whether it be editing, marketing, just something to really invest in for your future. I think those would be my advice.
Thank you. I love that, especially the invest in part of it. Like, make this a real career because you're invested in your career just because of the dollar bills.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, you have to find ways to distinguish yourself. And sometimes I think that's easier to do if you invest in yourself.
So, I'm just going to be general about this one. The new book, like, it's 4 years. It's got to be spectacular because you're spectacular at writing. So
I mean, I am pretty fond of
it.
it. Yeah. So,
About
Pretend
it.
With Me is actually kind of a love letter to my true crime podcast, which kind of will seem strange because it is a rom-com and there is no crime. But I actually had really bad writer's block. I know I mentioned that. And I always listen to true crime podcasts when I walk my dog. And I got really into the Murdaugh. I don't know. Did you follow that at all? The Murdaugh trials down in South Carolina, that like famous lawyer who ended up being convicted of murdering his wife and son. And it was just crazy. They like own this small town. And I just kind of started imagining what it would be like living in that kind of town with a family that kind of had that much power. And it started as just like a free write exercise to get rid of my writer's block. and it turned into a whole book. So that's kind of just what happened. I
That
imagine
is
what it
so
would be like to
amazing.
live in a small southern town that was kind of ruled by a one family dynasty.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like it's, following the journey has really gotten you someplace. So where can we buy this book? Where can we find out more information about you so we can follow your journey as you journey through your career?
Yes, so you can always grab copies of Pretend with Me. My other books will be up on Amazon. I'm currently working on having all of the existing books as well as Pretend with Me made into audiobooks. So you'll be able to get it on Audible or Amazon. And then you can follow me on Emily Mayer, author on both Facebook and Instagram. And I'm on emilymayerbooks.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Emily, for being here. I have thoroughly enjoyed our time with you, and I'm so sorry that
I
I
know,
kept going
I hope you
back
guys
to
are
that's
safe
so
and well
fucking
supplied.
rare.
Yes, I hope your cheekbones continue to glow and get you through this.
Thank you so much. So you can find out everything that your ladies are up to at www.andithoughladies.com. And when you go there, go down to the middle of the page and you can see the three charities that we proudly support. We ask that you take a moment and support them too. It does not have to be a monetary donation. Remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona and the Missing Jade. Oh, yeah. Thanks for listening.
It was so nice.